cup of joe. Let's talk about some goings on and anything you know.
Cup of joe. Let's talk about some goings on and anything you know. Good morning. Get in here and grab a cup of joe. Let's talk about some goings on and anything you know. Get in here and grab a cup of joe. Let's talk about some goings on and anything you know. Good morning. Get in here and grab a cup of joe. Let's talk about some goings on and anything you know. Good morning. Get in here and grab a cup of joe. Let's talk about some goings on and anything you know.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Butterfly. Good morning, Florida PI. Sam, good to see you in here. Forrest, I saw you. Spencer, good morning. And good morning, Salty.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Your audio is a little crackly, kind of like it was the other day on Miss Shorty's.
That's what I'm testing out. Is it my phone going kabunk on me, or I don't know what's going on. If I need to go to the PC, I will do that.
Yeah, it's a little crackly. I think it was worse the other night, but it's still there.
That's okay. Well, I just upgraded my son's phone. Mine should not be time for it, but I can if I want. So maybe it's time for an upgrade. Maybe I've done something to it. Let me go out. I'll come back in on the PC.
All right, sounds good. Okay. We'll see you in a minute.
All right.
So we've had some interesting things going on, and we have some more interesting things going on in true crime yesterday and today, right? So they're not really cases that I've done deep dives into. I have done FOIA requests on both of the cases we're going to talk about today. And it's really interesting. And Bryan Kohberger, the Idaho 4, everybody knows he supposedly has taken a plea deal, although it hasn't officially been accepted yet. And there are lots of people who are, oh no, Butterfly, the Diddy case too. So there are lots of people speculating that he can change his mind at the last minute and not take the plea. Missy Ann, good morning. Welcome in. Did the verdict already come down in Diddy? Did he do it? Did the verdict come in? Or is it coming down today later? Oh, there was a partial. Oh, okay. Yeah, other channels are playing the verdict coming in on Diddy. We had the partial verdict we watched last night when I was on with Kresha, and they were able to reach an agreement on some of the charges, but not on all of them. So it looks like maybe the rest of it's going to come down today. I heard a little bloop. That must mean that Salty's back. Hi, Salty.
I am back. Can you hear me now?
Yes, your audio is perfect. Just
awesome.
Fine.
Cool.
So Diddy's verdict came.
Yeah, I was about to say, I see chat. I thought they had part of their verdict last night, and they were waiting on the RICO part today.
Yeah, I think that's what we saw.
They found him guilty on everything except for the RICO. They were having to decide on that.
It looks like they decided on it.
What'd they decide? Guilty? Honestly,
Missy Ann says guilty for transport for, I'm going to say it, I don't care. Transport for prostitution on Cassie and Jane Doe.
Cool.
So everything else not guilty? Because there were more charges than that, right?
Well, all they were waiting on, as that I know of, was the RICO charge. They found him guilty on everything but the RICO. And they were supposed to go back, and the judge was like, no, you need to go back and hash it out. So they were supposed to do that. And today they were going to be doing that, as far as I knew. I kind of quit following the case. These Hollywood types don't interest me, I'll be honest, because it's a bunch of shit show to start with. Excuse me, first thing in the morning. But I don't know who to believe. You know, I believe P. Diddy is guilty of all the things, but it's not my cup of tea. I didn't even watch the big trial between Johnny Depp and that girl. I don't even know her name.
Amber Heard.
Yeah, like none of that Hollywood stuff interests me. They're all actors. I can't believe none of them.
Yeah, I did watch the Hannah Gutierrez trial. She was the armor that was responsible for the firearms. I did watch that because she's not an actress.
Oh yeah, I mean, I watched part of that, but I still lost interest in it. It got convoluted, in my opinion.
It did, and she had her firearms expert up there on the stand, and he actually literally pointed a firearm at the judge. And
I know. I
was like, wait, what? He's supposed to be an expert. He know better than that.
Shit show number 2 is why I quit. I don't want to watch that stuff. I can't with this fakeness. It's like weird. So I just hope that, you know, all the people who got roped into whatever Diddy was doing over there get justice for themselves and learn better next time.
Not guilty on sex trafficking and racketeering. Interesting. So the RICO charges didn't stick. Jury did not find him guilty on those.
Yeah, I mean, proving that was going to be hard, I think, for them to begin with. Now, according to how those big fancy raids they did of the 3 mansions, where's all these videos of everybody around Hollywood getting it on with one another? Where are they? Where's all the other people? We just got P. Diddy and Cassie and a few workers. You know, I'm like, I don't even know.
They're hiding. If they're on video somewhere, they're hiding right now, saying, please don't show it. Please don't show it.
There's a ton of them out there. There's a bunch of them out there that know they were on video somewhere at some point. And they know a lot of them probably been paying P. Diddy off on the side to keep that video private. I don't know Jane Leach calling my phone. I just said her name out loud. I don't know who that was. I don't know who it was. If I don't know you, I don't answer. It's bottom line.
I love T-Mobile's spam detector because it will tell me when a call comes up, spam suspected or scam suspected.
Oh, it does, but it doesn't always work right.
It doesn't.
I've had T-Mobile for years. They need to improve that service a little bit. So we had a glitch this morning. Before you get started here, we were going to do the part 1 of the Sterns hearing, but it was nowhere to be found, and Trial TV couldn't get it either. So I'm thinking they're lumping that in with this afternoon's 1:30 add-on hearing, because they had a 9 a.m. scheduled and then a 1:30 scheduled, as they called it, an add-on. But from what I just saw in a news report, I think it's all being combined to the 1:30. So it's a busy day.
It is a very busy day. And to be honest, I'm more interested in that than I am in P. Diddy stuff.
Oh, gosh, yes. What's happening in the Kohberger case here in a little while is going to be the big show, right? And then I will get to my Sterns this afternoon, because I got to watch that as well.
Yeah, there was a Fox 35 blurb on it, and I just wanted to play that 2-minute blurb, and now it just disappeared off of my playlist. So
oh no,
let me find that, like, for real. Like,
yeah, Fox 35's got all of it.
Yeah.
My friend works down there for Fox 35. She used to work here. I miss her. I want you back, Hannah. Do you hear me? We want you back on our end of Florida. She can't find Jen Soto either. I've tried to. I bugged her for a while, and then I quit bugging her. She couldn't find her.
This says it's on my playlist, but my playlist says no, it's not. So I'll just play it separately. I'll just play it separately, and then we'll go to my playlists. Because I do have that video from my FOIA request of the Kohberger traffic stop in Washington State. I got that uploaded to my playlist. I see that on there.
I told everybody about that this morning in my chat that you were going to be. We dropped the link over into the chat for anybody who wanted to come over and take a look at that with us.
Well, I appreciate that.
No problem.
I can't remember because parts of it, at least parts of it we've seen before. I don't know if we've seen the whole 9.5 minutes of it before. I mean, it's not groundbreaking, earth shattering type of thing, but it is interesting to me. And it is really interesting to me that they emailed it to me the day after we heard news about him accepting a plea deal. Like that
because
part of it is
a little backstory on that, guys, of like back in April, Joe and I were having a conversation offline, and he's like, maybe I should put in some FOIA requests. I'm like, well, good luck, because it's all under a gag order, and but we would love to get it if we could. And so Joe's like, well, let me bite, and he did, and then lo and behold, he gets the email the day after they say he's going to sign a plea deal. So wow, that I think they knew it was coming, right?
You almost have to think it like was the gag order officially lifted? Does the judge have a plea deal in front of him? And he said, all right, gag order's lifted type of thing.
Yeah.
All right.
They wouldn't have sent it to you otherwise because, that particular one wasn't going to be used in court, and the body cam had already been out there for, most people to see the majority of it there with the interaction with the cop. It's the other video that we're still, would love to get our hands on. So hopefully that will pan out.
Yeah,
but it'll be interesting to see this because the dynamics between him and the officer, right? The interaction. So it'd be cool to see.
Yeah, I've always thought that was fascinating. Like he just, like his attitude is like, dude, you're not getting out of this ticket, and your attitude isn't helping.
We watched a clip this morning on the show. His old professor, Dr. Catherine Ramsland, the leading authority on serial killers, is finally speaking about Kohberger. So that was super interesting.
Yeah, I definitely want to hear what she has to say, because there was a point in time where she was talking way early on and then she zipped it. She's like, I'm not saying anything more.
Yeah.
All right, let's watch this little blurb from Orlando Fox 35 on Stephan Sterns' hearing, see if they have any news for us. This came out a couple of hours ago.
In the Stephan Sterns case, he is accused of killing and sexually abusing 13-year-old Maddie Soto.
His first case focuses only on the sexual assault allegations. Let's bring in Fox 35's Amanda McKenzie, who joins us live this morning with an update on this case. And Amanda, good morning to you. We do know this trial has already been delayed several times already.
That's right. So the trial was last supposed to start in May, but the judge pushed it back to July because attorneys on both sides of the case said they would not be ready for trial in time. Now, at the last hearing, the prosecutors and defense went back and forth over what they believed what evidence should be included and excluded at trial. Now, both state prosecutors and the defense team for Stephan Sterns agree that information from his cell phone was gathered without a search warrant. But the state argues detectives were right to take his phone and go through it because they were concerned Sterns was allegedly trying to get rid of evidence. The defense said Sterns only gave consent to look at certain apps and even called on Sterns to testify.
Defendant attempted to destroy evidence already by factory resetting his phone.
What was your understanding, if any, as to what they were going to do with it?
We were just going to check my Google Maps.
Stop eating the mic.
Check to see if I was logged into that.
Right.
And that was it. That was all I agreed to.
Were you shown, or did they have a warrant?
They did not.
He stood there and never said no. It's not the onus. The onus is not on Mr. Sterns to say no. The onus is on law enforcement to ask if they can continue.
That's actually it's actually a very fascinating legal point for me, because we all know that he's a POS, but he still has his rights.
But
go ahead, go say.
No, you're right. I agree. I'm going to agree with you, because you and I are always on the same page as far as that goes. No matter who they are, they have their rights, right? And as long as those basic rights are met, we're good to go. because it can hurt a case if not. And
Exactly. Like, what if all of that gets thrown out because they should have had a warrant, because the judge just somewhere decides that they should have had a warrant before they continue checking his phone? Was it limited views of his phone that they requested and then they went beyond that? I mean,
well, they have 3 videos they have entered into the evidence, and they're all with Detective Maria Tagler. 2 of them are for sure, and they're the videos of her interviewing Sterns, where she asks him, "Can I look at your phone? Can I see your phone?" And he's like, "Yes." And she's like, "Well, can I take your phone?" He's like, "Yes." Now, that was verbal consent on site to take my phone, but did they look beyond that before they got the actual warrant, right? That's what we don't know. And the problem I'm having, that the judge may feel like, is there something there? Because he's taken so long to respond to those motions to keep that evidence out. He still has not made a decision. And here we are at a pretrial hearing. Now, does that mean he's going to side with the defense? Or does that mean I'm going to side with the prosecution and they did this the right way? That's what we don't know yet. And also, interestingly enough, in that hearing that you're showing there, his attorney stood up and said, "We've recently come into some confidential information," and the judge wanted to know what it was, and she didn't want to tell him. And he asked her, "Is it secretive?" And she says, "Well, no, but I don't know how it will help my client or if it will hurt my client yet. We don't know which path it will take." I thought, well, okay, defense attorney, go sit down now and reevaluate yourself before you get up here and make a statement like that. Tell the judge, "Well, I've got something, but I can't tell you, it's secretive." You know?
right.
So she didn't get her motion to continue based on that, whatever that was, because she refused to tell the judge what it was.
Yeah, I would have a hard time as an attorney and or the client of an attorney figuring out where the line is for attorney-client privilege. Like, what are they required to disclose, and what are they required not to disclose? That's probably a higher level, like a 400 law school class. I bet Florida PI Sam could tell us.
Well, according to defense attorneys, they get told things all the time. They don't never have to divulge, but sometimes if they have a conscience, they might.
Yeah. Well, there are legal requirements. Like I think things like red rumming people, unaliving people. I think if you told your attorney that you did that, I think the attorney would be required to disclose that.
Well, I wonder if this confidential information came from Stephan's mother, because she hates Jen Soto, as most people do. Here's the thing that people, so Joy says, "I hope it's dirt on Jen." Here's the thing about Stephan having dirt on Jen. Who's going to turn against who here? Is she going to help Stephan, turn against each other? Who actually killed Maddie?
Right. And they're not married, so there's no like spousal privilege there.
They have no privilege. So before we wish that it's dirt on Jen, I'm thinking, well, let's not hope they pin all this on Jen, right? And then take the shift away from him being so much at fault here. And this is not even the murder charge. This is all the CSAM stuff. When we get to the murder case, it's going to be a matter of who actually caused harm to Maddie that morning or that night. I think that's going to be a bigger issue.
Right. And did she or did she not? I mean, we've speculated all along. Did she or did she not know? She knew something.
No, I've always known she's known something. My speculation has always been who did it. I'm not saying that I don't think that guy's capable, because I absolutely do. But I don't trust Jennifer Soto either. And was she jealous of her daughter? Was she jealous of her daughter?
And what was up with her body language interactions with him in the interviews after? Totally disgusting.
Creepy.
Yes.
Very fucking creepy. Excuse my language, y'all, but it was very, very creepy. And when it comes to Stephan, I have a hard time holding my tongue. But I don't want to get Joe's channel in trouble, so I'll do it on mine. But I'll be respectful of everybody. But this guy, and we all know that she sent him, to go sleep with my daughter, all the things. We all know she had to have known something. You can't be that blind to what's in your face, and if everybody knows she needs some sort of charges. And what was this immunity deal that Florida gave her? How deep did that go? What all did it entail? We don't even know those issues yet, right? We have no clue. And we saw the crazy interviews that she did, the Woody Allen situation. I told him I don't want a Woody Allen situation in a few years when my daughter gets grown. Why would you say that to your boyfriend?
Why would that even cross your mind?
Exactly. Most women who have a child, and men, that's not your first thought. Well, I hope one day you don't fall in love with my daughter and run off. Why would you? That's gross. Get him out of your house right here, right now. But I still have an issue as to what happened that night and who caused it.
Yeah. So this is a relevant point, I think, that Ms. Woozy makes. I wish he would just plead guilty. I don't think anyone would be mad about that. But you know what? There are people that are mad about the Bryan Kohberger deal.
Oh, my God.
There are people that are not happy about that. So it's
Well,
easy to say that now. And it's a different situation. It's a different case. It's a different defendant. It's a different suspect. But
I don't think in this case people would be as mad at it. You know, I don't think there's like that kind of divide with the Stephan Sterns case like there is with Kohberger. So the ones that are mad at the plea are the ones who could never accept he did it to begin with, right? So they got to go figure that out for themselves. But I don't think in this case people would be like outraged at all. It'd be like, finally do it, you know, and take the burden off the trial of having to go through all that. But hey, if he wants to push it that far, we're here for it, because we have the death penalty in Florida for guys like you. Welcome to my state, mister. You transplant.
Yeah, the death penalty is also such a hot political, social topic that I'm not going to get into it.
I don't get into the politics of it. Like I've
Right.
always said, I thought it was normal because I'm in Florida. I was raised here. I thought everybody had an old Sparky in the prison until I realized they don't, and people don't like this death penalty stuff. I leave that whole conversation alone. I'm not here to argue right or wrong on death penalty. In my opinion, I don't care if you get death penalty or life in prison. It's one and the same, in my opinion. You're going to die there. Just your method to die will be different. That's all. But
Right.
yeah, do Maddie a favor, Stephan, and confess to what you were doing to that little girl.
And that would be the only way he would, is if the DP were removed off of the table, kind of like with Kohberger. Like that's the only way he's going to take a deal.
Well, Idaho's got a lot of issues with their death penalty right now. Okay, a lot of issues. And if you look into it, you'll understand. Y'all, not you, but I'm saying in general, there's a lot of issues going on in Idaho, especially since they botched the execution of Thomas Creech a year and a half ago. Florida don't have the same problem. We're setting an example with Stephan Sterns. He is the first man in the state of Florida under these new charges and guidelines to get the death penalty. So Florida's not playing with him. We're setting an example with him. Come to our state and you harm little kids, this is what you will get.
Yeah, which is why they separated the CCM charges from the unaliving charges, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they can do the CCM charges and he can get convicted for that, and then they can go after him for the DP on the.
No, they're seeking the death penalty on this CSAM charge.
Oh, are they really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Child under 12 and the things he did to her. That is a new law. Also, because of Gannon Stock being dumped in my hometown by Letitia Stock's by a stepmother, and then a certain YouTuber got a hold of that baby's autopsies and decided to go put them on Patreon, and y'all come pay and you can look at this poor child who was stuffed in a suitcase and thrown off a bridge in Pensacola, Florida. We didn't need to see that. And because of that, we have a law against that now as well. Maddie's autopsy and those photos will never be revealed to the public. Never. If they are, it's illegal.
Yeah, and we've seen that there were some photos that were leaked in the Delphi case, and how people are still upset about that. And honestly,
still leaking them.
Yeah. Yep. I'm not okay with that being publicly released information.
Not their children, you know.
Yes.
I can see going into a court and you're going to see graphic photos, but to have them disseminated all over the universe for everybody to tear apart and say, well, see, this proves the guy couldn't or could have, all the weirdness. No, we didn't need all that. Didn't need it all.
Don't need it. Don't need it.
Nope.
Hey, Steve's in the house, publicly buzzed. Hey,
Steve's in the house. It's gummy time, dude. Gummy time. He gets me. I like it. I feel like he made a special emoji just for me.
All right, let's finish this little clip and get this guy's face off our screen.
Yeah.
I'm true with this guy.
I'm gonna throw darts at his ass.
His defense team is still hoping the judge will consider tossing the evidence from the sex crimes trial. We are still awaiting a decision from the judge. Sterns was the live-in boyfriend of Madeline Soto's mother. Investigators say based on photo and video evidence recovered from his cell phone, which he voluntarily handed over, that his alleged sexual abuse of Maddie Soto had been going on for years. Maddie went missing on February 26th of last year, just days after her 13th birthday. Investigators found the teen.
So I'm just going to pause right there just for a second. So we see her beautiful face more than we see his ugly ass face. So I'm just going to pause for just a couple seconds.
She was a beautiful little soul. When you hear her friends talk about her and the way that they talked about her, it gave me chills for a lost little girl who just wanted to be normal. It had everything but normal at home.
And to have that bright light still in her eyes, knowing what she was going through. Yeah.
Exactly, Joe. That's because some of the photos, that smile she gives off and the vibe she generates, and you're like, would anybody have ever known the real pain that she was in, confusion that she was suffering in, to know that he's got videos on that damn phone that go back to when the child was barely 7 years old, and what he had her do in order to play the game on his phone. He decided it would be cute to record all that. Almost thank God that he did, right? Because that's going to put him in prison. But you know how do investigators feel when they stumble across this stuff? Because at first they're investigating a missing child. Let me see your phone. And they get the phone. They start already getting suspicious because the guy don't even know his way around town, how he took her to school. All these things were adding up by the time they took that phone from Stephan. So once they got in that phone, they saw that. Can you imagine how they felt?
Well, and they saw the factory reset at one point in time.
Twice, 2 times.
Yeah, twice.
2 factory resets. Oh, by the way, I accidentally reset my phone. Don't know how I did it, but I did.
What other case did we recently hear about that in that they said there was water damage?
Publicly buzzed. We're all spinning, dude, on that BK hearing. He's like, I'm spinning. We are too. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Joe.
No, you're all good. That's it. So that's 11 o'clock Mountain Time. So that's going to be 1 o'clock Eastern Time. So
So
12 o'clock your time. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think I made a mistake when I did my show earlier. I might have to go back and edit my time. I got confused. I'm trying to cover too many things today, hearings and all. But yeah. Anyway, no.
Is it noon Mountain Time, Pokemon? Noon Mountain Time for real?
No, it's 11 a.m. Mountain Time in Boise.
That's what I thought.
It'd be 12 Central, 1 Eastern.
Don't you be messing with my head, Shelly.
The 12:30, 1:30 Eastern is our Sterns afternoon session.
I have enough.
I think I do have a live scheduled correctly for the hearing for Kohberger. My God, I've come this far. I can't miss that.
No, and hopefully we can get you portaled over there. Well, I haven't ever done a portal before. I've had help with that before, so
I don't even know how you even. Yeah, that's not my cup of tea, man. I'm not here to portal. I can portal myself maybe, but I can't portal everybody.
Well, rest in peace, Maddie Soto. And
yes, I mean that little angel. I vision her on her birthday at her grandparents' home, when she had her birthday party at her grandma's, there's a video that was released of Maddie, and I've made a couple of little videos about it, but she's walking out by the lake. She has on that pretty little blue flowy dress, and she has her little scarf banner, and she's just dancing around in a beautiful Florida sunset. It doesn't get any better. And there's that beautiful child just carefree on one of the last times of her life. Just a day or two, the next day she was gone.
Well, she's really carefree now.
Yes, absolutely. None of that, nothing can harm her anymore. And it's always sad that it has to end like that, but thank goodness she doesn't have to suffer and silently, and if she, hopefully she can feel, and how many people want to wrap their arms around her and see the red flags. That's one of the biggest things I talk about when I cover Stephan. And I had to read some pretty disgusting things that he did to this child in court documents. And I read them like an adult because he did them. I just had to read them, but she had to suffer through them. So I felt that pain for her when I read it. And I just want people to take those takeaways to see the red flags. That sparkling new boyfriend you have may not be who he appears to be. That promising new stepmother may not be who she appears to be. Get to know the people better. Your kids are worth it. I chose to be alone for many years because of my children. I didn't want it. I didn't want all the hassle. No hassles, I'm ready to, but just I hope people can pick up on red flags. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah. Even if it's just one time, even if you just interrupt something, stop something, report something one time, and it's one child, it's 100% worth it. Like,
Publicly buzzed, you're not lying, and he's coming to Florida Penitentiary. I hope he gets Rayford. I've known some people been in and out of that prison, and let me tell you, there's not good things that happen in these Florida prisons. And Sterns is going to meet the best of the best. Let me just, I already know his future. I'm good with it too.
all right, we got set to portal over to your
and I am set up to go live at wait a minute, that's the wrong show. Hold on. See, I got too many upcomings.
All right.
I don't know how I did that. I just scheduled 2 shows within a half hour of one another. I know that's not 4 days
later in a wooded area in St. Cloud. Sterns is facing 60 charges for sexual battery, molestation, and possession of child pornography. His sex abuse trial is set to begin in July with a pretrial hearing today at 1:30. We will be sure to let you know what happens. As for his murder trial, that is slated to begin in September. Reporting live from...
So she just said 1:30. So his hearing is going to start a half an hour after Bryan Kohberger's hearing.
Right.
That's
so,
going to be interesting.
Well, that's okay, because I can go back and pull Sterns and watch it after Kohberger's.
Yeah.
So I knew the add-on was at 1:30, and this is the same clip that I watched a little bit ago where I'm thinking they're going ahead and taking the morning session and lumping it with the afternoon session, whatever.
Right.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah. So I am resetting my time for Sterns. I'm going to give Kohberger's at least an hour and a half, and then I'll go live again with Sterns, and we'll catch that hearing as well.
All right. Sounds good. So I'm going to play, somebody put together a really cool playlist of actual news stations doing like little 2-minute clips about Kohberger's plea deal. So I'm going to play a few clips from their playlist just to update everybody. Everybody probably already knows, but I think it's a really good, like 2-minute by 2-minute by 2-minute playlist. And then we can get to my FOIA request, body-worn cam video from Washington State.
Shelly, Idaho has 2 time zones like Florida. So old Moscow time would have been 2 hours difference than me, and Boise's 1 hour. Florida has Central and Eastern time zone.
Isn't that weird? How far the Central time zone stretches is crazy to me.
Apalachicola River in Florida. I can leave my end of Florida, which is the Alabama. I'm on the state line, and I drive all the way straight down past Tallahassee and keep going. Once I cross the Apalachicola River, I roll into Eastern time. My kids never understood that when they were little and we were going to Orlando to the parks. I'm like, it's time to change the time, guys. They're like, what? How does that happen? And you spend the next 4 hours explaining it.
Right. And the central time zone stretches all the way in.
Mm-hmm.
Does it go all the way
to the East Coast?
Yeah, but the other way to the west.
Oh, up. Yeah. I don't know how far up.
I know Kansas is central time, and most of Texas is central time, probably all of Texas. I think that's probably the dividing line. It's like West Texas, New Mexico is the dividing line, probably.
Well, I know Butterfly's in Texas, and we're both central.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Texas is huge. Like after I did my walk along Lady Bird Lake, I'm like, okay, I don't have that far to drive to Phoenix. West Texas.
Did you get a good laugh at yourself?
Yeah. West Texas from Austin was like 5 hours to El Paso. I was like, just driving and driving and driving and driving. And I actually saw a roadkill mountain lion, and I'm mad at myself. I mean, I didn't want to disrespect it, but I'm kind of kicking myself for not actually like taking a picture of it, because that's got to be highly unusual, right? To see. And it was in wine country. West Texas has a wine country that's really cool, but it was in wine country.
You said Joe is in tune with the spirit animals. He didn't want... I love that about you, Joe. He didn't want to upset the guy and take his picture.
I didn't want to disrespect it.
Disrespect him. Yeah, he didn't want to disrespect him. That's nice. But I get it. It would have been a cool picture, right?
Very unusual.
See that, right? Yeah, it's one of those things you
probably
won't
never
see that often.
Probably never again in the rest of my life. Probably never again.
Yeah. Yeah. Was it huge?
It was. It was like as big as a deer, like bigger than a deer, like muscle wise, but like height wise, and how much space it took up on the side of the road was like as big as a buck.
We had somebody's bull get out down the highway yesterday. When we first moved here, we had cows in the yard. They came out of nowhere. They busted out of the field across the street, and they got their pickup trucks and they rodeoed them back into the field, which they didn't use horses. They used their trucks, but okay. And then yesterday they had to block off a highway because this big old bull got loose, and he tried to play catch with one of the officers. It was funny.
Yeah, bulls, you don't mess with bulls.
You don't mess with the bulls. Like Tim McGraw will tell you, don't mess with the bull. He can get real mean.
Mean. My uncle in Eastern Indiana was a cattle farmer.
Oh, yeah?
And my cousins now are cattle farmers, took over his farm when he passed. So I went out and did a survey of some of the farm ground for them to, do whatever they did with the estate after my uncle passed. And there was a bull in one of the fields, and I was like, my cousin said, do not mess with that bull. Don't even get close to him. And if he sees you, you better be hightailing it out of there. And Charlie was with me at the time. So Charlie gets out of the car, and that got the bull's attention. Like me being there wasn't all that interesting to the bull, but having like a little dog on the property, that got his attention. And he stopped in mid graze, and he looked up at me, and I'm like, all right, me and you, Charlie, we're going to go like on another part of the farm right now.
Back away slowly. Charlie, don't run. Walk. Anyway.
Yes.
So, anyway. Yeah. Fun little, Joe didn't get in his sports stories, so we had to get in some wildlife stories.
Right. Yeah. We're talking about that wildlife. Yeah, bulls are colorblind. That whole red thing,
right?
I don't know if it's true or not.
What do they call that guy? The
matador.
Matador, yeah, the matador with the red. Yeah, they can't see color. What's the whole point of it being red, right?
Right.
Why
well, that's probably it's a shade of gray, right? To them, maybe it's a particularly infuriating shade of gray.
Maybe they see it better because it's red. I don't know.
All right. Here we go to the big news stories in the last couple of days on the Bryan Kohberger case.
We have breaking news. The Monroe County native accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students has accepted a plea deal. Newswatch 16 Stacey Lang is with us to explain. Stacey, what can you tell us at this hour?
Yeah, Scott, this news breaking just minutes before the beginning of this newscast. So this is the information we have so far. Bryan Kohberger, the Monroe County native, who's accused of stabbing and killing 4 University of Idaho students to death in their off-campus home in Moscow, Idaho, back in 2022. You probably have heard much about this case so far. We've been talking about it here on Newswatch 16. It has been covered extensively in the national news. Bryan Kohberger has accepted a plea deal. ABC News has confirmed that information through a letter that was sent to the families of all 4 of those victims. That letter says that Bryan Kohberger will plead guilty to all of the charges against him. That includes 4 counts of first-degree murder for which he was facing potentially the death penalty. This guilty plea, he will accept 4 consecutive life sentences. He will agree to serve the rest of his life in prison, taking the death penalty off the table. Now, what we know now is that Kohberger is expected in court in 2 days on July 2nd to go over the terms of this plea deal. We'll learn a lot more then. There was news in this case coming out just today. Our own Emily Kress was in Monroe County Court as 7 different people are being called from Monroe County going to serve or testify rather in this trial in Idaho that was set to begin in about 6 weeks. We were there for those hearings today. This plea deal that we're just learning about now would now make those subpoenas null and void, and also avoids for Kohberger the death penalty. And for those victims' families, the potential of going through a trial that was set to continue through at least November. So we're just learning the details of this plea deal now, Scott. So we'll have much more to talk about tonight on Newswatch 16 and tomorrow as well.
Justice on the table in the courtroom tomorrow, depending on who you ask, of course. What could be the biggest decision made yet?
So I think this one talks a little bit about everybody not being so happy about the plea deal. I think they just dip their toes in the water on that, but there's probably a deep end of the pool to get into on that. I think I saw something that was, a little more intensely opposed to a plea deal by one of the family members.
That's putting it mildly.
Yeah.
There's no, everybody who follows the case knows there's no way to sugarcoat it. It is what it is. In the murders of 4 Idaho college students, their suspected killer, Bryan Kohberger, poised to take a plea deal. Tomorrow could be one of the last times we see Kohberger in a courtroom. This deal would keep him off of death row if the judge accepts. No trial, straight to prison to await sentencing. Thanks for joining us at 11. I'm Elle Thomas. KARE 7's Gary Horker is in Boise tonight, where families of the victims are gathering privately. But for some, the emotion and outrage promises to be very public when the plea deal is made, Gary.
Here in Boise, Idaho, in about 12 hours from now, all eyes, all cameras, the focus of everybody's attention and emotion will be on accused murderer Bryan Kohberger, as he's expected to make a landmark plea deal to keep him away from Idaho's death penalty. But some family members of the murder victims don't agree that this plea deal should even happen, and some are still actively trying to stop it. If he had been convicted at trial of 4 murder charges and a burglary, Bryan Kohberger would have likely faced lethal injection or maybe even the firing squad.
We'll never see this as justice.
Steve Consalvis, the father of Kaylee, has been actively trying to get people to appeal to the judge and even the Department of Justice to stop a plea deal.
This isn't what we should be doing. You don't deal with terrorists, and you don't deal with people who kill your kids in their sleep.
According to the Idaho Statesman, which received a copy of the letter sent from prosecutors to the victims' families, it read, quote, "This resolution is our sincere attempt to seek justice for your family. This agreement ensures that the defendant will be convicted, will spend the rest of his life in prison, and will not be able to put you and the other families through the uncertainty of decades of post-conviction appeals."
So
it's a tough
I had
one.
this. It is. I'm going to back up so we see the text of it. I had this question in the 2 Arizona trials, Maricopa County Superior Court of Lori Vallow Daybell. Did the prosecutor, did Trina Kay and her boss, so she's not the chief prosecutor of Maricopa County, but she's a pretty damn good one, or the state of Arizona. But did they reach out to the families of Charles and the families of Brandon to ask their thoughts on prosecuting her, on extraditing her from a state where she already has 5 life sentences? She's not getting out of prison for the rest of her life. There's no death penalty in Arizona for these charges. I don't think there is for anything, but not for conspiracy to commit first degree. Did they consult with the families? And apparently the prosecutor for the state of Idaho did not consult with families. If they're upset, then this is news to them.
They did.
Okay.
They just disagreed with it. So here's the thing. We have 4 families. Right now, 2 of the families are in support of this plea deal and 2 are not. The 2 are not are very close family friends. So there's a divide right there. And I completely understand both sides of the table. 100% understand both sides of the table. But I also understand where the state of Idaho is coming from. And from legalities. As this guy, is he really prepared to go all the way? I don't think the state was nervous they were going to lose the case. I don't
But
think
there's always that. But there's always that possibility.
Always that possibility. But I'm telling you right now,
1 in 12 chance.
I think they had, and he wouldn't be taking a plea deal today if his attorney didn't say, "Look, guy, they got a mountain of evidence against you that I cannot fight. I've tried everything in my power. I can't even get my alternate perpetrators in there because we know they were already investigated and we know who they were. Their alibis stuck because they were actual alibis. Okay, you already got a difficult client on your hands. Don't say you don't because you done told the world you did. He has autism. He has ADHD. He questions everything under the sun. She's done all she can do as an attorney, and her end game as a defense attorney will always be to get the DP removed. And from reports that we've seen in other articles, the defense approached the prosecution with this deal. Prosecution didn't wake up one morning and go, you know what, I'm going to call Kohberger down here and see if we can just make a deal and avoid this whole big mess. That's not what we're hearing. Now, the families I know were contacted because they always said Steve said in one of the interviews they had actually had a meeting. One of his youngest daughters couldn't be in the meeting, and then she actually wrote a statement. It's on the Gonzalez family page on Facebook. It's all out there. And the state sent the families an email attached with a letter letting them know about this deal, what they had decided on as far as the deal goes. So once the families realized, hey, they're going to do this, they were divided. And they've always been divided. Not on Kohberger's guilt or innocence, but on how they handled this whole situation. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So that, and from what we have also been reported, we know the Gonzalez family will be there. Steve Gonzalez, there's a possibility, will show up wearing his certain bill that he's trying to get passed on the DP in Idaho. He's probably going to have that on. He may protest outside the courthouse. I don't know. That's what we've been told. Bryan Kohberger's family will also be in attendance. The Gonzalez family, as I mentioned, the Chapin family will also be present, Ethan's parents. And here's another thing. If you're Bryan Kohberger and you know in your heart of hearts you did this, and your attorney's done all she can do, and it's all coming out in court, do you want those jurors to sit there and see 4 individual crime scene photos and what you actually did to those bodies? And I hate to get graphic, y'all, but it's true crime. And what he did to Ethan Chapin is extremely hard to understand. Why go that extra length? And the jury would have never not went with the death penalty in this case. Never in a million years.
Right. But I like the idea, and I'm just speaking off the cuff here. I like the idea of a plea deal because we've seen jury decisions that we did not agree with. And all it takes is one to have a hung jury and have to retry everything all over again. But having said that, I want an allocution on this. I want him to admit. I don't want it to be like a nolo contendere. I don't want it to be a
we've
I
heard
stand
that's
silent.
a possibility.
Yeah,
that-
no, no.
I agree. He already got to stand silent once in Idaho. Don't do it again. Don't just stand up there and say, I confess, sign a paper, I'm good, and turn around and walk out. Excuse us. Some of us haven't been invested in setting you free, dude. We've been invested in these 4 victims. Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. I'm not ashamed or afraid to say their names out loud. I've been screaming their names for damn near 3 years. I've caught hell for doing that. I didn't care. It's just the way it is. And so I've always felt they had the right guy in this case. I never once thought this is Delphi. This is Karen Reed. Are you kidding me? Get out of here with that. Not even close. Not even close.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll get to the body worn cam here after this one, I think.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that almost.
Yeah,
Y'all
right.
done got me talking to Joe. I feel like me and Joe are on the phone, and we could probably just sit here for a couple hours and just talk bullshit. I'll forget we're live.
Yeah. So, but I did want to play this one short bit about how the families are actively fighting against the plea deal.
Yeah.
And the judge doesn't have to take it. Judges do not have to accept plea deals. They can reject plea deals if they don't.
I doubt he will, but yeah.
Yeah, I doubt it too.
I'll be surprised, but I think he's going to sign off on it.
Yeah.
Appeals. The family of murder victim Madison Mogen and the Gonsalves family both have active GoFundMe pages to fund the families leaving work to attend a long trial. The Mogen family is relieved now there will be no murder trial.
Future dates and future things that we don't want to have to be at, that we shouldn't have to be at, that have to do with this terrible person.
So if they'd gone to trial, it could have lasted for months. Instead, tomorrow's hearing could potentially last only minutes. We'll be here to cover all of it for you. And by the way, the sentencing will be scheduled tomorrow. He will not actually be sentenced tomorrow. Whatever happens here, we'll be here to cover it for you. Reporting, meanwhile, in Boise, Idaho, I'm Gary Horker, KIRO 7 News.
All right, so that's more on the playlist. We don't need to go more into that. Let me exit out of that, and then we can get into the body-worn cam. So like I said about the body-worn cam, it's not news. It's not breaking news. It's not like something we haven't seen most of, if not all of before. But I did get it directly from the Washington State University Police Department. And the only thing I did was I added subtitles. I did AI caption subtitles, so some of them are going to be off a little bit. And some of the times when they're off, it's kind of funny. But
so you say how it used to be like affidavit, people would call it Alpha David, it's like,
right.
What the hell?
Yeah, and they would always AI captions always mess up Lori Daybell, like always, and Chad Daybell. Like I literally think one time it might have said dumbbell. I mean, maybe that's wishful thinking, but yeah.
Oh God, no, that woman is. Lord, she married the right man with the right name, Dumbbell, because the older she gets, the dumber she gets.
So, but anyway, I like getting it directly from the police department because it's unedited, except for me adding captions to it. That's the only thing I did. So I like that.
Before we go to that, one thing, speaking of Lori Vallow, something
Yes.
I saw. I had no idea it was coming, and I saw it for the first time, when I got up in the middle of the night and been up ever since. Colby and Brandon have started a YouTube channel a media company.
What?
Yes.
That's
It
awesome.
is Timber and Wings YouTube channel. I don't have the link right here in front of me, but so it's brand new. They got one video up explaining what they're going to be doing. how they want to approach this. But yes, Brandon's all in.
I dig it.
Yeah. So they set up a little studio in Brandon's office, and yeah, they're going to be doing a YouTube channel and trying to bring awareness and help. And so I just wanted to share that in case you guys hadn't seen that yet.
Good deal. We'll let's try and find that link and get that up here in a minute. That's really cool. I like that. I like, because there are other collaborations that are not so wonderful. So I like to see a good collaboration put together, and I'd like to see people, when they evolve to the next chapter in their lives, when they turn the page to the next chapter, and I feel like that's what they're doing, and they're going to help us all turn the page to the next chapter.
Well, Brandon put it beautifully, and Colby couldn't agree more. It's not victim, it's survivor.
Nice.
So I think he's also going to help Colby on that path to healing. You know, the journey we all see him taking. I think Brandon's just another instrument in that. So hats off, guys.
Yes. Kudos. My camera light just went red. What does that mean? Is that somebody signaling me that
I
I'm
don't
taking
have to
too
worry
long?
about no camera. I'm like, what camera?
Straight too far from the path.
Screw that camera. I like nothing looking at me. No way. I'll be smack that camera one day when I get mad. I'll be like, what are you looking at?
All right. Here we go. So body-worn cam directly from the Washington State University Police Department of the traffic stop in October of 2022 of Bryan Kohberger.
Now this would be the murders took place November 13th of 2022. So a month before.
Yes, this was October 14th of 2022.
Hello, I am observing you.
I just came from stalking those kids. Sorry.
You know why I stopped you? You're on the red light.
What actually happened was I was stuck in the middle of the intersection.
Yeah,
so
I was behind you the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, he's going to be argumentative with her. But I do that when I'm at a red light or when I'm in the left turn lane of a green light. I pull out in the intersection, and as soon as that turns yellow and the people coming the other way stop, I'll go the rest of the way.
Most people do, but we know you're not supposed to. If you read the handbook and went and took the test and all the things, you should know that. But I get it. He's from another state, blah, 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 blah. I know. But let's not pretend you probably weren't just coming from 1122 King Road.
Was he?
I don't know. I'm just saying he probably some month before the murders. Yeah, I'm going to suspect he was out stalking that day or following or surveilling or whatever the hell he was doing technically.
See, it's
See, I'm going to throw all kind of shade at this guy now. You are weird at the intersection. Weirdo at the intersection.
Weirdo arguing with a cop. Just freaking take your ticket.
Take your ticket, right? Warning, whatever. I'm sorry, ma'am. I'll never do it again. Come on.
Exactly.
I see where you parked. I know better to come through this intersection hot.
Yeah. Well, and cops on campus. So Lafayette, Indiana, West Lafayette, Indiana is a campus town, especially West Lafayette. You dot all your I's, you cross all your T's. You don't break any traffic laws at all. Like you come to a full and complete stop. You turn into the closest lane. You don't run a yellow light, like none of that stuff, because they're just waiting to pull you over to see if you've been drinking or smoking weed or whatever. If you're under the influence, I mean, they're just waiting for that traffic violation to pull you over. So,
and this guy knows he's got a bad record. I mean, I don't know how many times he's gotten pulled over before this stop, but there was this stop, the stop at Farm Road where he got pulled over, and then the twice on the way back to Pennsylvania. Like the guy just wasn't. He didn't want to follow the rules of the road. Reminds me of somebody I know. I had to tell her, honey, you don't own the road. We don't all part ways so you can have at it. And she's like, I really do think that, don't I? I'm like, yeah. So pull over and let me drive. Because I'm not trying to die today. You don't own the road. I promise. Neither did Kohberger, but he's a Scorpio. He's going to have that argumentative side to him.
Yeah, among other things.
You can't help that part. It's just there. Especially being a male Scorpio. My God. Me and this dude would have butted heads 100,000%.
Yeah. Well,
I
and,
know
and
from
speaking of,
experience.
he's paying attention to the cop, not to the girl in the skirt in front of the car.
Well, we don't know that. Jeff's wondering if she's the Asian friend from class. I don't think so, Jeff. She doesn't quite look like her. But yeah, it's not his type.
So technically, you're not supposed to enter the intersection at all for that reason, because if the light turns red, then you're stuck in the intersection, and then you run the red light. So that's the reason I stopped you. Do you have your license on you?
Do you know the entrance to Johnson, that street?
You can still hear that gal talking on her phone. Like she didn't like keep on walking down the sidewalk. She like stopped right there, which makes me a little curious, but not like
She's
to the
probably
point
not
where,
paying that cop and that guy in that car no mind, like most women. Just don't pay him no
Right.
mind.
right.
Do you have the registration and insurance?
And by the way, that's the Washington State University Police Department that blurred out the image of his driver's license. That's the only thing that they redacted on this was his driver's license image.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just get this for you out.
You what?
I'm just gonna get this out for you.
Okay.
So would you explain that to me a little bit further? So in Pennsylvania, when you're stuck in the intersection, you have to make the left. So what would
That gal just walked back and forth in front of the car again. Now I'm curious about her. I want to know
Oh
why
gosh, Joe's gonna be on the hunt now. He's like, I need to go get the hey, go FOIA the videos from around the school, Joe. They're gonna think you're weird. Then they're gonna be like, "What is this guy doing?"
right?
Red flag him. Red
like
flag
if
him.
you're walking down the sidewalk talking on the phone, you're walking down the sidewalk talking on the phone. Why is she like going back and forth? Maybe somebody was picking her up there, and maybe it wasn't him. But now I'm curious. Jeff's got me curious about that person. I didn't even notice it until like right now in the
You
moment.
can't pay Jeff no attention. He'll get you. He'll get you like that. He'll get you going down rabbit holes, Joe Schmoe. Where you been?
You know, I'm prone to
teasing him.
I'm prone to rabbit holes anyway. So
Jeff will get you
maybe-
down one, won't you, Jeff? No, I'm joking, Jeff.
what would the appropriate thing for me to have done?
Not-
Just
You're
back up in
not
that
supposed to
situation.
block an intersection like that in Washington. So just by you blocking the intersection, that's technically a ticketable violation.
Those eyes, everybody comments about his eyes. Now you can comment away.
Well,
and thus,
yeah, a lot of folks had thought, his eyes looked crazy. Some were like, no, they look normal. To me, I never got I wouldn't have gotten an immediate crazy vibe from the guy. It just wouldn't have been my first go-to. Maybe have some crazy big eyes, but a lot of folks have crazy big eyes. My granddaughter has huge eyes, so I'm not one to judge him based on the size of his eyes. You know what I'm saying? But he never. I'm kind of feeling like his teacher though. This guy masked himself to be normal, look normal, appear normal, function normally, go to school, all the things. I'm normal when deep down inside he was never normal. But I didn't get my first go-to wasn't, oh my God, look at him. He's crazy. He's weird. I just never got that vibe.
Yeah, no, I look at it more like if I'm a police officer and I come up to this guy and he's looking at me like that and wanting to argue, I'm like, the eyes accentuate his arguability, like the fact that he wants to argue with me. And I'm like, no, I'm not having any part of that. Like,
Well, cops are used to it though. They get a lot of smart ass people.
right.
Like, this wasn't her
yeah.
first go around with a smart aleck guy in a car.
No, no, not
And
not
you
being
can't just
example
lose your
of-
shit with all of them. You know what I mean? You
Right.
gotta do
No,
your job.
you do what Frank Slope does. Deputy Frank Slope of the Pinal County Sheriff's Office. I love his Fridays with Frank show. And he has merch now. And he always says, I'm on the mountain of right and you're in the valley of wrong. And That's where she's at with this guy right now. Is she's like, I'm on the mountain of right. You can't pull in that intersection. You're in the valley of wrong. You're going to get a ticket no matter how much you try to argue with me.
And you just kill him with kindness. And I promise you, guys like him don't like that.
Yeah.
They can't get a rise out of you. They can't pull your button, pull your triggers, push your buttons, all the things. You just remain calm. You're in control. He's going to try to control you by controlling your behavior and your reaction. And she's like, not today, dude. Not today, Kohberger.
Yep. This is my traffic stop, not yours.
Not yours, right?
Then you're running a red light, so it's another ticketable offense. So you're not supposed to proceed into the intersection until you can go, because a lot of people do what you just did, right? Is like you're sitting in the intersection waiting, and then turns, and then you're blocking. So
Yeah, there was a little bit of confusion with speeding because someone had stopped. I wasn't sure what they were doing, and then they put on their light to turn.
Mhm.
So I thought that maybe they were letting me go through.
Oh.
Did you see that?
No. Mm-mm.
I feel like right before.
Did you see that?
Nope. I didn't see that.
Not at all. What are you talking about, dude?
So body language experts would have something to say about the fact that he's recalling this incident in the intersection that happened like 2 minutes ago. Well, 5 minutes ago, probably now at this point. And he's looking off to the right for recall of some kind. And I have no idea what that means, that he's looking off to the right for recall. Like, is that a deceptive behavior? Or is he actually like recalling, like replaying the video of what happened in his mind? When she said no, like, is he trying to pull up
Both,
some
and
other...
he's about to come up with his next move. People underestimate this guy, and his normal way of viewing things is not going to be the normal way of viewing things, right? It's a whole different level for him. And I just get a different, I don't know. I don't see it that way. The body language can tell you one thing, but that mind is what I want to know. Your body, you know how I feel about body language experts anyway.
Right.
You got to know a baseline about a person. You know your habits, what's normal for you to act like. It's what's inside that mind that we can't see that I like to dive into.
Yeah, and speaking of his baseline, I mean, we know back from his days in Pennsylvania that there were gals in the bar that supposedly, according to the owner of the bar, reported him for like creepily staring at them. So
Yeah.
maybe that's just his baseline. Maybe his baseline is just like looking at people in a creepy way, whatever that means. I don't put any weight in that. Like,
I think it's
but-
normal for him to look creepy, you know, just on general. Maybe it's the vibe he gives off when you're right there in person with him. I think it could be creepy to people. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he's not, but yeah, is that his baseline to be just appear creepy? Because he can't help that part, right?
yeah.
You can wear that mask all day long, but you can't hide everything.
No. Oh my gosh. I got to put that up. Therapist,
What
you
is
know.
it?
Oh no, wrong one. There we go.
I was about to say,
Sorry.
what's so bad? That's a good one, therapist, you know. That's a good one. Look, we got a new one. I love that.
That's even funnier than RDF.
Yeah, I have that sometimes a lot, actually. But I like this better.
Yeah.
It
I made the
fits.
turn. There was someone who made a right. They didn't have their signal on, so I wasn't sure if they were just waiting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I would just advise just don't enter the intersection until you can go, so you don't get stuck. Let's see.
But in that situation, the best thing to do then would be back up.
No. No.
I don't know if
No. No.
You just don't go out there, guy. The best thing to do would just be to back up. And she's like,
No,
no.
that would like make things even more dangerous. Like I would rather run the red light, and I may or may not have run a red light or two in my life, especially at left turn lanes.
Well, Ann Taylor made a statement in court recently, one of the last couple hearings, about Kohberger and about how his interactions with her have been. And Dolphin and I were like, kind of like the interaction with a WSU cop. You wouldn't take no for an answer. When she gave you the answer, you still questioned her. And now Ann come out with a document recently about new red flags. And then a couple days later, we got a plea deal.
Wow.
What were those red flags, Ann Taylor, you spoke of in that sealed document? What red flags? What'd you see? I want to see now.
Let's see. Rachel has a comment that I have to respond to because
Go, Rachel.
Don't go in the first place. but
Yeah, if he was a
but I
terrible
do. He might have been a terrible driver, and we see all those videos of a white sedan on all of those cameras that are circling the property that night, that morning. But I will put my car out in an intersection to turn left, and I will wait, and that's just how I go. And I don't.
I'm not saying I haven't done it.
Yeah.
I look around to see if there's cops first. I mean, I'm a very defensive type of driver. I'm watching for the cops at all times because I don't want to get pulled over and have to deal with a cop. I just don't want no part of it. Even if I'm innocent, I just don't want to deal with it. So if I'm about to do something I know is not correct, guess who's looking around to make sure she knows her surroundings before she goes off balls to the wall, idiot style? I'm not doing it. I'm not trying to go to jail over a traffic situation, right?
And if I did get pulled over, I'd be like, my bad, I'm sorry. Give me the ticket. I'll pay it. It's a
go play dumb. I didn't mean to. I thought I had enough time to go. All the things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
I'm no angel, y'all. Trust me. I'll be out there breaking some laws if I need to.
The last time I got pulled over was because I had a new registration sticker for my Mustang, and I hadn't put it on yet. So technically my plate looked like it had expired. So
yeah.
City cop pulls me over and he's like, do you know your registration is expired? So I pulled out of the glove box this thing and I'm my new sticker. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I just haven't put it on yet. And he's like, how about you get out of your car and put it on right now?
I was about to say, Joe, I just hadn't put it on there yet. Cop's going to be like, I get you, Joe Schmoe. Let's go have some coffee and talk it out. Cop's
no,
like,
we didn't
get
have
out,
coffee
on there now.
Yep,
get out,
exactly.
sir, right now. Put that on there before I take you to jail for being lazy.
And he did watch me put it on my plate
he?
right there on the spot. He did.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, next time you get a new one, how about you put it on when you first get it? And not drive around on an expired sticker.
And you didn't want to bring up the law to him and make sure he had the right statute and the code.
Oh, don't get me into that sovereign citizen stuff.
Did he fill out a report and all that shit?
He did not. He just
was the interview recorded, Joe?
Allegedly not.
Oh, allegedly.
You know what? That's a good question. Like, I know.
Oh God! See, I started something.
No. I know Lafayette Police Department now has body-worn cams, but I don't know how long they've had them. That's a good question.
Well, Pennsylvania didn't have body cams on their state troopers prior to Bryan Kohberger's arrest. Because everybody's like, where's the body cam from him being arrested? There's not any. They didn't have to wear them at that time. They weren't mandated. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Here's another crazy thing. Canton Police Department didn't and doesn't still have body-worn cam.
Well, that's because they're Canton. They don't want nobody. They can't afford for anybody to see. We just got Buchanan and all them over there testifying in the Walsh trial, and that, from what I understand, is getting a little messy, and I'm scared to look.
Yeah.
Like, I'm totally scared to look at that one. Do they got the wrong guy? What do you mean there's evidence problems? What? Buchanan's on the witness stand? I'm like, oh, holy shit. Here we go again. I don't know.
Here we go again.
I don't know.
Just body-worn cams. Just if they had worn body-worn cams that night, we would have so many questions answered. All we have
record the interviews, right? And don't lose them.
Yes.
Don't lose the darn interviews.
Don't get me started there. Oh gosh.
Joe, we got PTSD, y'all. Sorry. It comes out sometimes.
Delphi PTSD will be with me forever. Doug Carter.
Never leave us.
I'm still waiting for you to tell me. I wish you could tell me someday.
With the magic hands.
There's a best thing to do in that situation, because you're either going to back up into somebody or you're going to run a red light. So, or you're going to be sitting in an intersection. There's not really a great option there.
Yeah, I was just slightly into the crosswalk, so Yeah, where I'm from Pennsylvania, we actually don't have like crosswalks.
Oh.
So even if you're kind of slightly, there's a little bit more leeway as well. Like there are a few lines. Like there's one white line and there's another one. Like there's like a certain
He's arguing with this traffic enforcement officer the lines in an intersection.
Now, many wondered, was it because she was a woman? I don't think that was all there was to it. Maybe it was a part of it but the professor he apparently had the problem with was a male. Catherine Ramsland said he appeared to be normal to her. He never came at her in any kind of way. So I don't know if this was just a woman thing or if it's I'm going to question everything. I'm right, you're wrong.
Right. I think that I can talk my way out of this. I think I can argue my way out of it. It's an argument. Yes.
Right.
Yes. It's not talking your way out of it. It's not like schmoozing her. It's arguing your way out of it.
He's ready to have a full-on debate right there in the intersection, right? On the side of the road. Let's debate it right now, sister, and then he'd been like that guy. I just made a short video about the attorney that called the judge. What did he call her? Oh my God, what was the word he called her? Honey? Oh, it was honey. He called the judge honey. He was making
this an attorney?
Appellate judge, Joe. In appellate court, he's standing there trying to give his argument. She's like, what does this have to do with the case right now? He's like, blah, blah, blah. Well, honey. And then he's like, oh my God. I'm so sorry, judge. He messed himself up so bad. He lost his complete train of thought. It threw him off. I'm like, you dumbass.
Well, he deserved it.
Yeah, he deserved it. So is it just a woman thing here? I'm going to go up against her because she's a woman, or is it a little bit of both? The whole law enforcement, I'm smarter than you thing. Remember, he studied a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. Criminology.
Everybody. Yeah.
Criminology covers a lot of things. A lot. And even when he was under Dr. Ramsland's teachings, studying the mind of these people. The criminology and criminal justice are two different studies. And the criminology is going to take a look at that mental part, and that aspect and what role society played and what breeds these killers. Criminal justice is the law, it's a whole different, and you got your crime scenes and all the things in between. He was into all of it. He wasn't just focused on one facet. Do you know what I mean? He was down for all of it.
Yep.
And it took a lot. What I was going to say, Joe, with him, he was not stupid. The guy was incredibly intelligent. Just to get into this program, the teacher that recommended him, she's only recommended 10 in her entire career. He was one of those 10. It was a very hard program to get into to start with, and he got in because he was that smart and very good at what he did. It's a shame.
Yeah, and so I'm going to go back to a throwback to what my mom used to say to me. So I was more or less academically capable. Like after my freshman year, I had a 4.0. It went downhill after that because I became a teenager. But she used to say, you don't have the sense God gave a wooden goose to me at times when I would do stupid things.
Mm-hmm.
So you can be academically, intellectually intelligent and still sit here on the side of the road and decide to argue the law with a police officer that pulled you over.
Definitely.
That's not real bright, dude. Like, you're smart, you're intelligent, but like, this isn't a smart move.
But he thinks he's so smart he can make this move. So it's not like I don't think he's got a lot of good common sense. Do you know what I mean?
He's not self-aware.
No, gosh, no. He's not self-aware at all. Maybe he is to an extent, and that was part of his journey of studying. Figure me out.
Right. Yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point. I like
I've
this
always
because you
wondered
want
that.
you want to get into his head, and I like that because that does kind of get into his head. Like maybe he was too self-aware, and so he overcompensated for it at times.
And I think Catherine Ramsland alluded to that in that interview because she said he has the capacity, the intellectual capacity to do it, to sit down and self-reflect and tell her, why I did this, how I did this, what the motives really were, and to help her figure out him. Because I'm telling you, from the Tappa Talks and all the things, this guy was trying to figure out what is wrong with me and why am I different? Why am I feeling the things I'm feeling? Why am I having the thoughts I think? It's one thing to have a crush on a cute girl. It's one thing to hone in on one across the country that you're fooling around on the websites going, where am I going to go hang out at when I get over there? Oh, look, cute girl. Was that what it was? You know, the motive there is something we do need to know. Because I think it's going to go so far deep, and Ann Taylor's right. Going back in this dude's history may have shown her some stuff that she's like, oh, shoot. Wait a minute, you know. Was that a factor? I don't know. But yeah, I would love to get into that mind and figure out, was he trying to figure himself out? That's what I wonder.
Right. Well, in the Tappa Talks, he was. Like, I mean, but just in a really bizarre way that's hard for a lot of us to relate to.
Yeah, and the Tappa Talks were so, you know, I feel like a piece of meat. When I go home and see my family, I feel nothing towards them. These were the thoughts he was having as a 14, 15-year-old boy, 16. Yeah. You know, he talked about his visual Schmoe, his health journey, his losing the weight, the diet, all trying to get that visual Schmoe under control. He had an autoimmune disease as well. I don't know if this visual Schmoe was triggered by autoimmune or how that panned out. I don't know what autoimmune he has. There's no excuses for anything he did. But I have autoimmune disease, and it can be a struggle figuring out your best path, right? And the guy kicked heroin. He kicked a drug habit. He lost a bunch of weight, right? It felt like, to people who knew him, he was on the right path.
That takes a tremendous amount of discipline, self-investment,
yeah,
mental energy, physical, psychological energy to kick something like heroin. Like, that is a highly addictive drug. So for him to be able to kick that is just like, it makes me wonder so much more about him. Like, if you did that, why did you do that? Like, how could you do that and still do that?
And what was the motivating factor once you got off the drugs and then began that health journey? Was there something more compelling driving you? You need to be fit. You need to be this. Because those dark thoughts are still there compelling you in the back of your mind. One day I may want to do this, but I need to be in condition to do that. You know, the big dumpy guy is not going to get in and out as quickly as the more fit, agile guy.
The guy that goes hiking and stargazing,
boxing, and yeah,
all of that stuff.
And not afraid to go hiking alone up a mountain at dark.
So do you think that he did those things for that purpose, or
Part
just
of me
to get
wonders? Honestly, I have to wonder that, because it's him, and knowing his history a little better, because I've looked at it honestly and openly, because I know people in real life, you know what I mean? And you can see patterns emerging when they're young. And I always felt like this guy's problems, if this is really the guy, and he did do all that they say he did, his problems go way back. And we're finding out because of Ann Taylor and some of these documents, 9 years old, he was seeing psychologists.
Yeah, he didn't wake up in the middle of the night on November whatever 2022 and just say, I'm going to go unalive 4 college students over
I'm just going to pick a random house in Moscow.
No.
Didn't
That's
happen
not what
like
happened.
that.
No,
not at all.
From which you can actually kind of place your vehicle.
Yeah. So I know laws vary state to state, but there is a law in Washington for blocking an intersection like that, proceeding through when you don't, when you're just stalling. I forget the actual verbiage. I can find it for you, but it's like stalling, blocking an intersection.
Yeah. I'm just curious about the law. I don't mean to.
Oh no, yeah, I can find it for you. Yeah. One second. That looks good on a Hyundai. I don't see Pennsylvania registration like at all. Okay, let's see. Expires November 22nd or 2022. Okay.
They're on completely different pages.
Uh-huh.
She's like, I'm checking his registration. I'm checking to make sure that his car is legally registered. And he's asking me to provide proof of what the law says about what you can do in an intersection at a red light.
Right. And
I
that's
mean,
crazy that he's kind of demanding that from her at that point.
yeah.
Instead of just taking, like you said, taking the ticket and going on about your business, right? Go home and look it up, whatever. He wants her to do that right here, right now. Show me.
No, and most people, like Deputy Frank Slope in Pinal County, would be like, most officers would be like, you know what? Go take it up with the judge. Like if you think that you were right legally and this ticket should be, erased or whatever, then go take it up with the judge. I'm not going to sit here and argue it with you on the spot. But she actually goes above and beyond a little bit here in explaining this to him, which I find very interesting, but also intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, one of those is actually.
Yeah. Okay, that looks good. I'll hand that back to you. I'm just gonna go check your info. I'll try to find that RCW, the law for you, and I'll be right back.
Thank you.
All right. Sierra 331, code 4 driver. Go ahead. Last of Kohberger, King, Ocean, Henry, Boy, Edward, Robert, George, Edward, Robert versus Bryan.
There's our AI.
Just
Captain.
Brian
Kohberger. Kohberger. Burger. Kohberger.
Burger King, Ocean, Henry, Boy, Edward. What the hell? AI.
So
And
the
y'all
CO,
people trust
right.
that AI dude. I do not. I don't trust him at all.
It's CO Burger. Let's go back just a little more. There we go. Last name of Kohberger is CO, and then the next frame Burger. Burger King. It says Burger King.
Burger King, Ocean, Henry, Boy, Edward, Robert, George, Edward, Robert versus Bryan, Boy, Robert, Young, Adam, Nora, Middle C, Charles, date of birth 112194, Mount Washington.
He's almost the exact same age within about a month or so of one of my 4 boys. Almost the exact same age as one of my 4 boys. So I'm still trying to figure out his dad, because his dad flew out all the way from Pennsylvania to Pullman to Washington State. He probably flew into Spokane, I would guess. It's a bigger airport.
Yeah, from what we understand, he did, and then he drove in. And there was a press conference early on where the chief stated that was actually a planned trip. But here's the thing. He would have been going home for the holidays, right? But we don't know why he didn't just fly home for the holiday and then fly back out once the holiday was over. Or if you decide to drive, okay, fine, but why did you need your dad to drive with you? It's because it was a long trip. Okay, we can get that as well. But was he really planning to go back? That's the big question, because none of us knew at the time when he took the trip and we found out about it that he was being fired from his teaching job at WSU and was already in trouble there. Like, it was all coming down at the same time. It's insane. So we don't know, why did dad come and drive back with him?
And why, if you're a grown-ass adult, 20-something years old, so that he was born in 94.
He was 27.
Yeah. 94 to 22. He was 20. He had just turned 27 to 28. He turned 28 before he drove back.
Yeah.
So after the unalivings and before he drove back, he turned 28. Why can you not drive across the country by yourself? I mean, I understand having driving help is good. So, okay, you need a driving buddy, call dad up. Dad comes out. I mean, I drove all the way out to Phoenix and all the way back all by myself, which is probably unusual. And it would have been nice.
A lot of people do, make lengthy car trips on their own. It may not be ideal, but you may travel in the day, be safe, all the things. Sometimes you don't have a choice. But it was always a little odd to a lot of us that even occurred, and why? Why not just throw him on a plane and round trip him?
Yes, exactly. If he's planning on coming back, then just leave his car out there and fly him to Pennsylvania for the holidays and fly him back for the spring semester. But we know that he wasn't going to be working there in the spring semester. So did he tell mom and dad that? Or did he just say, hey, come out and drive back with me?
Yeah, I don't think they even knew probably at that point that something was happening. That's probably the last people he wanted to tell. We saw the selfie that he took, thanks to Dateline, allegedly the selfie he took the morning of the crimes. Because after the crimes occurred, that Sunday morning at around 9:30-ish, that white Elantra and that cell phone were back right there within a mile of the crime scene. And it stayed for about 20 minutes, and then it left. And then according to the timestamp, an hour later, he's taken a selfie in his bathroom with a thumbs up and sending it to his mother, and allegedly FaceTimed his mother.
Did he drive out by himself? In August, July or August?
As far as no, he did not. I'm gonna take that back, because we know that when he got to Pullman, his dad was
there. Yes, and asked the
his
neighbors.
Dad approached the neighbor.
Yes, right.
About being friends with his son, make friends with my son. He's new in town, and the guy's like, sure. And so the guy did, and that was one of the guys that invited him to the pool party over there at the Grove that we saw in the Dateline episode as well, which we've always known about that guy and the party at the Grove. What we didn't know was that Bryan Kohberger was at that party. What we rumored was 2 of the victims were at that party. We have always known that on the YouTube streets, that 2 of the victims were at this alleged party at the Grove Apartments. Turns out there really was a party at the Grove Apartments, and Bryan Kohberger was the one there.
What about the victims?
We don't know.
Okay. We have no proof one way or the other.
Dateline didn't leak any of that out. If it's true, if anybody nobody has said. From what we understood, they were not there.
Okay. In one way, from a true crime reporter, I'm disappointed with the plea deal, only from the fact that I learned so much about digital data when Nick Balance testified in Lori's second trial. I learned so much about it, and he was so good. I wanted to see him, and I wanted to see all of the digital evidence that he came up with.
Me too. And I wanted to see him go up against Cy like the battle of the century.
Yes. Oh my God, that would have been so good.
So good. So I got a lot of faith in Nick Balance too. We've seen what he can do, right?
Yeah, and he makes it seem not like rocket science. Like, he boils it down so everyday Joe Schmoes like me can understand it, so the jury could understand it. I mean, he testified so powerfully, all of the other witnesses too, not just him, but the other witnesses, that the jury deliberated like 10 minutes in that case. So you got to wonder if that was a consideration, because Ann is citing some of Lori's other stuff in Idaho in some of her filings. So was she also watching this Brandon Boudreaux trial in Phoenix, and is like, damn, they deliberated 10 minutes?
Well, here's the thing about Nick Balance. He's the go-to guy, the FBI CAS guy in that region. So any big case, he's going to be touching it in some way. Right. That's why he was on Lori and Chad's case, and that's why he's on the Kohberger case. But listening to him testify in the old trials, even the ones out of Idaho, very impressive. Extremely impressive, especially with what he did with Alex Cox's phone. I was floored at his accuracy, right? And what he was able to find out. So I was really looking forward to seeing that testimony as well. I'm disappointed in that.
Yeah. So hopefully, though, we will still get to see. So what he created for Lori's second trial was a report. And in the beginning, like the front 3, 4, 5 pages of that report are just general information about cell towers and pings and that sort of thing. And then we get into details about dates and times. And if he has them available, specific text messages or incoming calls, and to whom and from whom those calls and text messages are made. So maybe through FOIA, maybe we can get to see a copy of that report. I hope so.
Oh yeah, I think that a lot of things in this case will be unsealed with time. I don't think it's going to be like Delphi. I think it's going to be totally different. So I think once the dust settles, you know what I mean, and the process plays out, I think they will begin to unseal the things. I hope they do anyway. Not for like, gore's sake, but so we can see the evidence. And there's going to be people always, until I see the evidence, then I can't make up my mind. And I respect that, right? I was ready to walk into this courtroom with a completely open mind because of what we've seen in the past with other cases. So I'm just always able to look at it with an open mind, even though I felt strongly this guy was guilty and they really had enough probable cause. And I always did feel he was guilty, but I was prepared to walk in with an open mind.
Yeah, I was too. And one of the main reasons why I was prepared to walk into this with an open mind is because my experience in Delphi. Because when they first arrested Richard Allen, I was like, that's awesome. They got the guy. And then over time and over hearing all of the evidence that I was able to hear, and we weren't able to hear all of it because it wasn't televised and it wasn't audio broadcast. So we had to rely on people in the courtroom to provide us with reports of what went on in the courtroom. So we got to see some of the evidence and hear some of the evidence. And eventually I came to the opinion that I'm not convinced that he's factually guilty or factually innocent. Right. The jury disagreed with me, but because of that, I was coming into Kohberger with that same mindset that once we see all the evidence, maybe I won't be convinced one way or the other that he is factually innocent or factually guilty.
Right. I was the same right there with you. Like I've always told you, the day that Abby and Libby went missing, I'm watching TV, taking care of my own kids. Like, what? And then here we were 5 years later. And when I was like you, great, they got the guy. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, damn, it took a long time. You had a video and all the things, and now you got him. Okay, but now I need to know how you got him. So then as that unfolds before our eyes, we saw all the problems. I never saw those problems in the Kohberger case. Not one time. And I couldn't help but point out over and over in the beginning with this, it's all about Kohberger's rights. I'm like, well, what about Rick Allen? Have y'all seen that man? Like arrested a month apart, for real. One's in a county jail, one's in a prison, one's in orange, one's in a suit. One looks like he's been beat to hell and back and in dirty clothes and God knows what else. And one looks perfectly healthy and normal. But here we are worrying about Bryan Kohberger's rights. All right. It was weird. And if I'd have seen the problems in Idaho 4 that I saw in Delphi, I'd have been shouting it from the rooftops. You know that. So would you. We'd have done a whole ass 6-hour show on that.
Yep.
But hopefully things will become unsealed and people can see it and evaluate it and make up their minds, right?
Right. Exactly. And if he does take this plea deal and he's sentenced to life in prison, 4 life sentences in prison, whatever it is, he's competing with Lori now for how many times he can get sentenced to life in prison in Idaho. He's competing. She has 5. I think he's only going to get 4, but
he's only going to get 4. He's only getting the 4. He only harmed 4 people. 10 years on the burglary charge. And everybody, in the beginning of this case, were like, burglary charge? What did he steal? Well, apparently in Idaho, if you go into a home and commit a crime, it's burglary. But where a lot of us are still thinking, but is it just really that? Or was something removed from the home as a souvenir when you walked out the door? I don't know. We'll find out.
We know something was left in the home that was probably partially at least responsible for him taking a plea deal, if in fact he does, in a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
So I like this part of the video. Oh, what happened? Here we go. We're still on this traffic stop video. We've only gotten halfway through this.
Oh, yeah.
We only gotten halfway through this damn video.
He's taking forever to get on with it. He just won't take his ticket and leave like the rest of us.
This is a really cool cheat sheet, though, that this cop has.
For guys like this, it's going to question her at the intersection.
Right. So she's got some. I mean, if we look at this, and I don't remember ever seeing this before, but we can see like some of the state code citations and what they mean.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a 462342. That's the middle column, the highlighted one. Driving with license suspended, maybe. No motorcycle endorsement, violation of motorcycle instruction, violation of interlock device. I mean, she's got a cheat sheet that tells what the state codes are. That is pretty cool.
She
Like
should have
that.
had an extra copy for guys like this. Right? Here you go, buddy. Keep this in the glove box with your registration and all the things in case you need it next time. Because I think you're going to need it next time.
That is a really good SOP for the Washington State University Police Department, though. I mean,
Right.
really, having that laminated cheat sheet for what the state codes are for different criminal charges and civil charges. So it's not just criminal; it's criminal and civil charges. Anyway, I thought that was cool. Like, get it out here, and it's almost like she has it just for this situation, just for Bryan Kohberger. No, he's nothing special. He's not. He's like not the first smart ass that's tried to argue his way out of a ticket before.
No.
She's even got her own markups on it.
Embracing while driving.
What?
It's on there.
Where did you see that?
Okay. Well, that's blurry.
Yeah. Back up a little more.
There.
Is that better?
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, embracing while driving, reckless.
Yeah. What the hell? No embracing, guys. Stop it.
Oh
Not allowed to do that. Wheels
That's
off the roadway, cell phone while driving, and no embracing. Darn it!
That is a
Cut it out.
violation. Embracing while driving is a violation of Idaho Code
It's distracting.
46.61.665.
It's distracting.
Carrying people, animals on outside of vehicle. My gosh. This is hilarious.
I thought we only
But
did
it's
that in
not.
the South. That's crazy. Well, I got to be live in 15 minutes to get ready prepared for this hearing and stuff.
All right, let's dial this down in 5. Wait, let me speed it up. How
Oh,
about
you're
that?
good.
How about we speed it up? Embracing while driving. I need some merch.
Go ahead.
License through Washington 11/2020.
Here we go. We'll zoom it up to where she comes back out and talks to him about the violation.
Okay, so I found it. So I don't know what in Pennsylvania where you go to find laws, but in Washington it's called the Revised Code of Washington. So I'll try to turn my brightness up, but it's just called an RCW. So it's RCW 46.61.202. So it's no driver shall enter an intersection unless there is significant space on the other side of the intersection. To accommodate the vehicle, he is operating without obstructing the passage of other vehicles, despite any traffic control signal indications to proceed. So you had a green light, so you're thinking you can go, but you're blocking the intersection. Yeah. So that's if you're ever curious in any laws in Washington, just Revised Code of Washington. So I'm not writing a ticket or anything like that today. I understand you're from Pennsylvania, but in the future, don't proceed through the intersection. You can't get stopped for that alone unless you can clear it right away.
Okay.
So
So that basically, I understand.
you're just supposed to wait behind the white line. Drivers do it all the time, but
it never even occurred to me that was actually something wrong that I,
Yeah.
well, except for the fact that I was blocking the crosswalk, which is
Yeah.
what I went through.
And states vary a lot from laws. Like Pennsylvania might not even have that law, but in Washington we do.
I'm actually just from a very rural area, so we just don't have crosswalks.
Oh.
Unless I visit an area where there are crosswalks,
Gotcha.
and then it's not very frequent.
Yeah.
I do apologize if I was asking you too many questions about the law. I wasn't trying to
No, not at all. Like I understand you're not from here, so if you don't know, a lot of people don't know a bunch of laws. Like I only know it because this is what I do. But yeah, if you're ever curious on any more laws, just RCW, and they can be hard to read because it's in like legal language. But hope that helps.
It's in like legal language. What was his major again?
Oh, he understands, ma'am. Criminal justice
Yeah.
and criminology. He understands. That's not over his head at all.
No, she doesn't know that though.
Mm-mm.
All right, we're almost to the end of this. So when we wrap this up, I'm going to portal you to Salty's channel, and she's going to have the hearing live. Right?
Yes, I will. I'm going to go. Yeah, we're going to get there. It's not on yet, but I'm going to go get prepared for that really quick. Joe, thanks for having me up with you. I'm going to go ahead and jump down though, because I have seen this. So you guys come over and watch the hearing with us if you want to, so we can see how this goes down. It's families and all should be there as well. So we'll see what happens. But,
all right, we'll see you.
well, thanks for airing this though. I'm really glad you got it, because I remember when we were first discussing it, we didn't know what would happen, and he got it. So hopefully we get more stuff in the future for you guys. So thanks for having me, Joe. You guys have a good one, and hopefully I'll see you guys soon.
Yep, we'll see you soon, Salty.
Okay, bye.
Bye. All right, so the last of this video, and this is, like I said, directly from the Washington State University Police Department with my captions, subtitles added. But there's not much more. We're right here at the end.
If you're ever curious on any more laws, just RCW, and they can be hard to read because it's in like legal language, but hope that helps.
Definitely.
Yeah, have a good day.
Definitely, you too.
Thanks.
Happening today, there is a pretrial hearing.
All right. We already watched that. We don't need to see that. So thanks everybody for jumping in, hanging with us for a little bit while we watch some updates on some of the stories that are hitting. Like it's been a crazy summer. Has it not been a crazy summer? Spring and summer. So we had 2 Lori Daybell trials, and we had Karen Reed. Now we've got Kohberger and Stephan Sterns. Like, it's just the conversation that I had with Lauren Matthias from Hidden True Crime just rings so true. There is no shortage of things to cover. And I thank you all for hanging out with me and taking a look at these new updates on this. Let's go over to Salty's channel. Let's watch her live coverage of Kohberger's hearing, and then she's going to cover Sterns after that. So she's got like 2 more lives to do. But thanks everybody for being here. I got 3 puzzle pieces. Thank you so much. I appreciate your sticker. Right. I'm of this opinion. It only takes one juror. Like we saw this in Karen Reed's first trial. It only takes one juror or one jury foreman to screw up a verdict and hang a jury. So I don't blame the state of Idaho for coming to a plea agreement. Obviously, 2 of the families are not happy about it. So I want to hear what they have to say. They have a voice. They deserve to be heard. And they deserve to be upset if they're upset about this plea deal. Like maybe they were wanting to see him fry or get shot or whatever. I don't think that the firing squad is actually an actual option for the DP in Idaho. But anyway, and here's Colby Ryan's and Brandon Boudreaux's. This is Colby and Brandon, not Colby and Ryan. Colby Ryan is his name. Brandon Boudreaux is his fellow victim in all of Lori's shenanigans. So there's their channel right there. Thank you all for hanging with us. we'll provide some more updates on some of these cases as they come in. I have some FOIA requests out there. It would be really cool if some of them come in, like really interesting. Thanks, everybody, and I will catch you on the flip side.
Good morning, good morning. Hope you got your cup of joe and filled up your morning with good things to know. Good morning, good morning. Thanks for saying hi. Together we make a difference. Be sure to come back by. Good morning, good morning. Thanks for saying hi. Together we make a difference. Be sure to come back by. Good morning, hope you got your cup of joe and filled up your